Okay, good morning, everybody. Fantastic to see we've already got a whole bunch of you here already. I hope you have had a good few weeks since we last saw each other. I can't hardly remember how long it was. Was it 10 days ago? Something like that. What a great week of rehearsals that was. Amazing just to be able to immerse ourselves in this wonderful, wonderful piece. Really get under the skin of it and sing it to our heart's content. It's really a once-in-a-lifetime piece to be able to enjoy, and we are particularly lucky to be able to do it at the moment, given the circumstances. So I hope you've had a really good time since those rehearsals, singing it through on your own, singing it through with the master tracks, with the rehearsals, and generally just kind of living with Mahler. It's a wonderful time to be able to do that. I hope I am loud enough, or not too loud, but just shout if I'm not. I've actually just had the piano tuned, especially for you guys, so it's sounding particularly good today. It's a good time of year to tune the piano. You don't want to tune it in the summer because when it's too hot, the tuning can go kind of up and down. But it is actually the first time it's been tuned since March, so it was in need of it. You will have seen all these master tracks that have gone up, I think, on your members page on the YouTube channel, where you've got various combinations of voices to sing with you. So you've got one, I think, that's just the piano. You've got one that's the piano just with your voice, and then you've got one that's the piano with every voice except yours, and then the piano with all of the voices singing along. So you can choose how you want to practice this piece. I quite like the option of singing it with everyone except you in your ears, so that you really fill in that gap in the harmony. But you've also got it just with your voice part, just so you feel really secure with someone singing along. And when you come to record it, you can choose any of those master tracks to record along to. They all will line up in the same way, so whichever one you feel most comfortable with, you can use that one to record. And of course, because it's split into 4 parts, you can choose to record one part with just one voice and the other part with all 4 of the voices, or whatever you feel like. So it's totally up to you. I will recap this at the end, but the most important thing with the recordings is to do the clap at the beginning. So you'll see me and you'll hear me go 1, 2, 3, clap, and you just need to make sure you clap exactly in time with me there, just because it helps to align everything up in the editing process. And once you've clapped, just let the recording then run. Don't fast forward or pause or anything like that. Great. Okay, well, we'll give it 10 minutes for everyone to get here, and then we'll give this a go. We've got an hour and a half today, so plenty of time to really kind of get stuck into it again. We'll kind of rehearse it bit by bit from beginning to end for the first hour, and then for the last half hour, maybe slightly less, we can then have a go at just singing the whole thing through with the master track. So you really get an idea of the shape of the thing, and you know where you are with singing it. And you can always watch this back. You can pause me if you want to go and get a cup of tea. I appreciate it. It's a big old sing, so if you need to just take a break, you can take a break anytime. That is the wonderful advantage of this model of rehearsing, is that you can take a break whenever you want to take a break. Well, it's so good to see when you're here. Hello, everybody. It's fantastic. Yes, and I've been busy editing the orchestral accompaniment for this now. Maybe I could play you a little excerpt of that towards the end, just to give you a taster. Because amazingly, I now have all of the orchestral part recordings sitting on my computer, so they're not all kind of lined up into a performance yet entirely. But Mahler's finale of his Second Symphony is on my computer in some way, shape, or form, and I've done an initial draft of just the opening passage, which I sent to Mark over the weekend, and it's sounding pretty exciting. And the one thing that is missing is you guys. So I absolutely cannot wait to hear what the recording sounds like with the full chorus singing along. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Because it's interesting listening to the orchestral part without the chorus, and you really realise what an absolutely central role you play in the whole thing. You're kind of the key to the end of this symphony. It's almost like with just an orchestra, this piece couldn't end. He needed to bring in a choir, and needed to bring in words to end this piece. So you really have a very special role to play. Great. So I wonder where everyone's joining us from today. I know we've got people from all over the world. United States and Singapore we had a few weeks ago. Really so exciting and so unique to be able to sing with people all across the world. When would you ever be able to do that otherwise? I hope also over the last few days you've, as well as getting to know your choral bit, you've had a chance to listen to the rest of the movement and the rest of the symphony, because it really is such an amazing musical journey that this piece takes you on. So if you haven't done that yet, then do just take some time. It's such a good time to be able to do this. Just you can forget about everything in the world, and just for an hour and a half, how long this piece is, you can just settle in and relax and listen to it. Oh, great. Linda is tuning in from Switzerland. I was actually in Switzerland until just under a week ago, working with an orchestra in Geneva. First time I've been to Switzerland, I think, since I went skiing there as a child. So until last week, all Switzerland was to me was kind of snowy mountains. But if you've not been to Geneva, I'd recommend it. It's absolutely lovely, and a really wonderful orchestra. So I'm now back in the UK in quarantine, so I'm particularly lucky to be able to spend my quarantine time with you guys rehearsing this piece, because otherwise I'm not really allowed or able to rehearse anything. So wow, and we've got Jill in Thailand, someone in York in the UK, New Hampshire in the US. Fantastic. I was reminded of a wonderful quote about this symphony from Mahler himself when he was sort of reflecting on what he'd done, because it was with this finale especially, after 6 years of slaving away at the first four movements. This finale, it hit him like a lightning flash at someone's funeral, as I think I said in the previous rehearsals. And he wrote it in 3 weeks. So after 6 years of trying to find a way to end this piece, he suddenly wrote this massive final movement in 3 weeks of inspiration. And there's a letter to a friend where he said, I can't really write in this letter what I think of this piece without sounding immodest, but really it sounds like it comes from another planet. And I think that's such a good description of it. It really does. This music feels like it comes from another world, and when we sing it, we go into that other world, and we can kind of forget about everything around us and just enter this amazing world of Mahler and his Second Symphony. He said that the symphony beats you down to the ground and then lifts you up on wings to the highest of heights. So if you haven't listened to the first bit, you won't know what I mean about beating you down to the ground, but that is certainly the first movement, and the first part of this movement is really this kind of life or death battle, really, in music. And then when the choir comes in, that is the moment where, first of all, you promise this lifting up on wings to the highest of heights, and then you actually enact it and you sing it, and it really happens. Yes, it was Hans von Bülow's funeral that Mahler had the idea in. Hans von Bülow was a highly respected conductor in the 19th century, premiered a number of Wagner's operas. He was a friend of Wagner's, even though Wagner actually ended up marrying Hans von Bülow's wife. But nonetheless, he was very respected, and a mentor of Mahler's. So Mahler, I think it was a big deal when Hans von Bülow died. I think he was kind of his connection with that era of Wagner and Brahms and Bruckner, all these composers that were so inspirational to Mahler. So I think that's part of part of why Mahler was kind of in the frame of mind at that funeral to dream up this finale. It was such a huge figure in his life who had died, and he heard the words that open this choral part of the symphony sung from the balcony by a choir, and said it hit him like a lightning strike. And from that moment, he said he had the symphony, he had the finale of the symphony inside him, and it was just a matter of getting it out and articulating it. I was actually speaking with Marina Mahler this morning, who reminded me of the last time she heard a concert of mine, which was last year when I was doing Mahler's Fourth Symphony. And it was a particularly special occasion because not only was Marina there, but Marina's daughter was there, and Marina's daughter's son, her grandson, was there. So I had Mahler's granddaughter, great-granddaughter, and great-great-grandson all sitting in a little row listening to this concert. Quite a surreal experience, really, having 3 generations of Mahlers. Only one sort of step removed, 2 handshakes away from Mahler himself. Quite amazing. And I think I said to a few of you in the rehearsals the other day that this is a particularly apt symphony to do at this particular time, because when Mahler wrote it, there was a raging cholera pandemic going on in Europe, and particularly in Hamburg, where Mahler was spending quite a lot of time. So this piece was written in very similar circumstances to how we find ourselves now. Mahler was being forced to quarantine on a regular basis. He was having to move house to avoid where the worst bits of the pandemic were. He was struggling with restrictions that were stopping him performing. And so I suspect he had something of the kind of brain space that we've all managed to find during this extraordinary time that allowed him to dream up this piece. And so I think there's something particularly appropriate that now we, with that same kind of strange combination of restriction and therefore kind of mental freedom, we actually have that extra brain space to get to know this piece and enjoy it. So there's a nice little coincidence there. Great. Oh, excellent. We've got so many people joining. That's absolutely fantastic. Well, we'll give it just a couple more minutes. And then we will do a little warm-up like we usually do, and then work our way through this piece from beginning to end. And you can really get a kind of feel for where you're at with it now, and we can talk about it kind of as a whole choir for the first time. Instead of just looking at the individual parts, we can go through it and think about how we want to sing this as a group, because you are a group, a wonderful group, and we will be singing this together, and people will hear it with us singing together as a choir. So we can really talk about, really get inside the music in that way. And I will just go over, just before the very end, I'll explain exactly how the recording process works. I mean, I'm sure most of you by now are very familiar with it, but just in case, I will do that. And so do ping any questions as well if I don't answer them up in the chat, and I'll do my best to make everything clear so you're completely comfortable with how this whole thing is going to work. Great. Okay, well, like I said in the rehearsals, for this first bit, I think it's actually quite appropriate to be sitting down. That's actually how Mahler wanted it to be sung. So feel free to stay seated for this first bit. Make sure you've still got plenty of space around you, and if you're sitting down, just like when you're standing up, make sure your feet are flat on the floor and sort of shoulder width apart. And if you need a glass of water, make sure you've got that nearby. Like I say, though, you can always pause me, and I won't be offended. In fact, I won't even know. And you can go and get a glass of water, get a cup of coffee, let the dog out, as you wish, and then come back to it. Okay, so let's do a couple of gentle warm-ups to begin with. Like I've said a few times, really important to be in control and aware of our breathing in this piece, because it really demands quite extreme breath control. So let's just start with some deep breaths out of time. Just breathe in as you need to, And breathe out. Really familiarize yourself with your lungs and with that kind of capacity you've got, which is, of course, the engine for singing. And now let's breathe in to the count of 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. It's really important to have that control over how you let the air leave your lungs, because that's basically what singing is. And in this piece, we need to have a pretty iron grip on that. Great. Okay, and let's do a couple more kind of breathing type exercises. So our favorite lip trilling. Just kind of doodle around. Explore your register. See how long you can do it for. Deep breath. And that's me out of puff. Great. It does make your nose itch sometimes. I don't know why that is. Great. Let's try that then, using our vocal cords and singing some real pitches. So just going up. Great. I always find if you do just a bit of lip trilling, suddenly singing just feels so much easier. I think because when you're doing lip trilling, you have to really force the air through your lips, so you're forced to engage your tummy muscles. And so when you sing and you still use those muscles, they're suddenly not having to work nearly as hard because your mouth is open, so the air can come out much more easily. But crucially, you've got control over it, and that's what it's all about. Great. Okay, well, let's try similar but slightly different. Bella Signora. And we'll work our way up. Bella Signora. Bella Signora. And roll your R's. Bella Signora. Really open vowels. Bella Signora. Really resonant. Bella Signora. Bella Signora. And then one more. Bella Signora. Great. Nice gentle warm up. And now let's do our our number one warm-up, which is pop a caterpillar. We'll see how fast we can go today. So the words are pop a caterpillar, as though you're popping a balloon, but it's not a balloon, it's a caterpillar. I don't know why it's like that, other than it gives you some good consonants to get your tongue and lips and mouth around. So we'll do it to a scale. Pop a caterpillar, pop a caterpillar, pop a caterpillar, pop a caterpillar, like that. We all know how to do it now. And pop a caterpillar, 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 pop. Pop a caterpillar, 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 pop. Very good. Keep going a little bit faster. Pop a caterpillar, 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 pop. Pop a caterpillar, 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 pop. And one more. Pop a caterpillar, 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 pop. Great, well done. A little bit speedy at the end. Okay, I think that's enough. Like I've said before, you don't need to over warm up for this piece because it kind of does the warming up for you. So make sure you're nice and relaxed, kind of just move your shoulders around a little bit. Make sure your head's resting nicely on top of your neck. Nice straight back. And let's give it a go. So this is figure 31. And just to remind you of the words, auferstehen. Ja, auferstehen. Wirst du mein Staub nach kurzer Ruhe. So a rolled R on Ruhe. Not too kind of Italianate, because it's German, but R, just a little kind of flip of the R. With the ST on auferstehen and Staub, there's just a little kind of sh, SHT, just a very gentle sense of that. Auferstehen on both of those. And whenever we've got a word that ends in an N or an M, just hum it gently, just to kind of round off the end of the word. Okay, so this is figure 31. Nice and gentle. And that's our G major. G flat major, I should say. And we'll go all the way up to figure 33. We'll sing this whole section. So, here are your notes. Three and four and off. And you get to pat yourself on the back after that. And just have a listen to the orchestra. Great. Good stuff. Wow, that's absolutely wonderful. And excuse me as I kind of jump around between different parts, but you stick on your own part. And like I've said before, just breathe whenever you need to breathe. Actually, unlike normal, better to breathe in the middle of a word, in the middle of a vowel, than between them. Because then you can just gently sneak out and then sneak back in, and no one will notice. Because there'll still be just this overall sound of everyone singing. So don't worry about it being super slow. It's the point. It's meant to be slow. It's meant to be mysterious. So you can just top up as you need. Don't get to the point where you're in the red on your fuel gauge. Just breathe as you need to. Don't feel you need to kind of compete with me or really get to the end of every phrase. It's not about that. It's just about relaxing, breathing, and singing as you need to. Great. So these other words, just towards the end, unsterblich leben, just be aware of the German E's, sometimes very bright. Leben, leben. And wird der dich rief dir geben. So there's another one. Geben, leben, geben. So the words are auferstehen, rise again. Yes, rise again. Wirst du mein Staub, will you my dust, nach kurzer Ruhe, after a short rest. And then unsterblich leben. And we have this wonderful harmony. Unsterblich leben, as though it really is another world. And then will der, he who called you, dich rief, and we just kind of melt on that bit of harmony. Dir geben, give to you. So that's our opening paragraph. And I think the main thing we want to think about here today is the quality of our sound. Because it is such a special moment. It's one of the most special moments in all of music, really. So, really soft, almost the closest thing to not singing, really a kind of distant sound. Because the wonderful thing about a chorus is that you can make a sound that you would never make if you were singing on your own, because it would be too soft and too distant. But as a whole choir, if we all make that sound, it's the most astonishing effect. So really, just so you're just holding on to the tone, still body in the middle of the note. Never lose hold of the middle of the note, but it can be really soft and really gentle. Because I promise you, the effect of a whole chorus of you singing that is like nothing you've ever heard before. So let's just try that first phrase and just see if you can find that sound. It's different for everybody. So 3 and 4 and gorgeous. Yeah, that's the idea, and we just need to hold on to that sound, because you'll see the dynamics are consistent throughout. He writes triple P at the beginning. He writes triple P again just before 32, I think, just to remind you in case you've forgotten. And then it says very soft after 32, and then we even have a diminuendo in 4/8/7 and 4/8/8. So there we just kind of float off. And then it's triple P, and then it's quadruple P at the very end. So whatever you sing at the beginning, just remember you need one notch below that for the last 2 and a bit bars before 33. So know the difference between your triple P and your quadruple P. It doesn't even need to be a volume difference, because dynamic is not just about volume. Dynamic like the word we use in everyday English, dynamic is about the quality and the kind of how the sound is kind of alive, in what way the sound is alive. So quadruple P just can be that little bit more restful, that little bit more gentle. Okay, so let's try it once more. See if we can find this really soft sound. And just, you can hear in your inner ear the sound of hundreds of other people making this wonderful soft sound. And it just is the kind of the sound of air, sound of nature. So from 31, 3 and 4 and and wirst du mein Staub nach kurzer and unsterblich lebe one and Wonderful. Yeah. Great. That's the idea. It takes a bit of getting used to that, singing that softly and that quietly, but really it's what he wanted. You couldn't achieve the same thing with 10 singers singing softly. It has to be hundreds singing softly, and then suddenly you just get this kind of musical equivalent of a sort of cushion of sound. Wonderful. Well done. Remember to breathe with the red commas when they're marked. That's where we breathe all together, kind of consciously, but the rest of the time stagger away. Great. Okay, so then you get a breather, thankfully, after all that. And then we get figure 35. We get a little intro. So here it starts just with the men. Almost the same music, just slightly reworked, as though everything is just kind of gently waking up. So, wieder aufzublühen. So in German, a W is always a V, like Wagner. Wieder aufzublühen. So it's a slightly tricky word, that. The Z in German, TS, zu. And then blühen is that funny vowel with an umlaut over it, which is really an E with an U-shaped mouth. So, iu, blühen. Aufzublühen. Again, to bloom again. Again, to bloom. Wirst du gesät, were you sown. And again, sät, because that A has got the two dots above it, it's almost like you add an E after it. So it's not gesät, it's gesät. we use sown. You were sown in order to bloom again. And then we have der Herr der Ernte, the Lord of the harvest. Der Herr der Ernte goes, und sammelt Gaben uns ein, and gathers up like sheaves us together, die starben, who have died. And that's our second paragraph. Beautiful, beautiful words. So, the men started off, and we're still at triple P here. It gets ever so slightly stronger on the second Wieder aufzublühen, but that's only because more people come in. He's written double P there for the upper voices, I think only because it's quite a tall order to sing that low as a soprano and an alto and keep it really soft. So don't worry about being super, super soft, but overall the dynamic for this second part is the same as the first part, really soft. So let's try it. 35, 2, and wieder aufzublühen. Off, and wirst du gesetzt. Everyone. Wieder aufzublühen. 2 and 3 and off, and wirst du gesetzt. Off, and der Herr der Ernte. Off, and der Herr der Good stuff. It is a tricky count, that. It will be easier when you record it because I'll be able to conduct instead of playing a piano at the same time. And when we run it through later, I'll use the master track so I can conduct you. For now, it's not bad practice to have to rely completely on your ears. And it doesn't matter if you get it wrong a few times. That's what this is all about. You can even rewind and try again. But I will always be, even in the master track, pulsing these quavers. So you've always got a sense of where the quaver pulse is. So for every crotchet, you get 2 of them. For every minim, 4 of them. So when it comes to using a conductor and watching a conductor, it's just a kind of safety net instead of having to really rely on me. So this way, I think we can really get the music in our bones because you can really engage with it with your ears and your voice as well as just your eyes. Great. So another big puff that and keep that really soft dynamic. Particularly use your ears in the lower voices before 36. Well, we have this amazing key change. Just make sure you know it's coming. If it's a surprise, then it'll be a surprise for the audience in the wrong way. So just be aware what's about to happen. That should always really be the case. You want to be looking ahead a little bit. Okay, just a couple of kind of little details to remember. In the 5th bar of 35, I've written 4 lines, so it's 4 pulses on the pauses, and then a gentle T on a kind of crotchet rest I've written in, and then after that crotchet, so after 2 pulses, we're in everyone at Vida. And in 522 tenors, we've got our T in a slightly different place to everyone else, just a little bit earlier. So just gently drop that T in at the end of the bar, but everyone else, we're on the 4th quaver of that 3/4 bar, 3 before 36. Same thing happens in 529, but with the sopranos. So sopranos, we've got our T on the downbeat of 529. Everyone else, we've got it on the 4th quaver. So just keep an eye out. And of course, there's that big triplet bar, which I think we've kind of got the hang of now. But always just, again, know it's coming. Don't let yourself be caught out by it, because you need to be ready to kind of count in a slightly different way in that bar. And then the bar before 37 is really long. So let's try it once more. I think at this stage it's really good to kind of sing it through in bigger sections, so you really know the kind of shape of the thing. So that's our beginning. I love the way we get the lower voices to begin with, and then the upper voices join. It's kind of totally different to Beethoven 9, which was a piece that Mahler was originally nervous about writing a choral finale. He kind of thought that would be the solution to this symphony, but he didn't want to be seen to be imitating Beethoven's Ninth, which of course is the famous choral symphony. And in that piece, the choir enters by singing very loudly, Freude, joy. And it's kind of a surprise, a loud surprise, that we've had this symphony with just orchestra, and then suddenly, wham, voices come in. And I guess Mahler's way of avoiding comparison with that was to have the voices entering really softly. It's kind of a totally different effect, and a really wonderful one. Okay, 35. And 2, and wieder auf zu blühen, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, off, and bist du gesetzt, 2, 3, 4, breathe, wieder bist du gesetzt, 4 and 1 and 2 T. Der Herr, off, everyone. Der Herr, and 3 and 4, 2, 3 T. Unser God. fantastic. Well done. That's absolutely beautiful. I hope that's enjoyable. And that is the whole first chunk. And the middle two chunks are much shorter. So really, once we've got the hang of that chunk and the last chunk, the middle two will take care of themselves. So that's almost half of the singing you've done there. So just to kind of recap, remember, really, really soft, warm sound. Never a kind of weak or cold sound. Just keep it generous but distant, because we'll get closer and closer in the course of the piece, and by the time we get to the end, we are definitely in the room. But for this moment, we can be on another planet, just kind of hovering in the air. Gorgeous. Okay, so you get another break after that. Catch your breath, have a cup of tea, and the soloists sing their bit. And our next entry is at figure 42. So let's have a look at that. You get a little intro, 6 bars before. And remember, tenors and basses, that's your F. Hanging on there. Was and stand. So, altos and sopranos, you can kind of relax at this point because it's obvious where the tenors and basses come in, and therefore it's obvious where you come in. But for the tenors and basses, you've got to be a little bit more on the ball for this entry because it's a bit tricky. So let's try it. Just going into 42, I'll give you 6 bars. One and two and was entstanden ist. Great. That's the idea. Once you've got the entry, it's not so bad, this bit, but it's a slightly scary moment. And remember, as I've kind of marked up in the score in red, was entstand. So be not forceful, but rhythmic and secure with where the S and the T are at the end of was and ent. Just so it sounds really kind of mysterioso. Was entstand. Kind of deliberate. Great. Okay, so let's sing that. We'll just go straight into 42. And everyone else join in. We'll just sing up to Auferstehen. So, 1 and 2 and was entstanden ist, das muss vergehen. Altos, was vergangen, auferstehen. Great. Kind of goes like a flash, that moment. Great. And it's meant to go like a flash because what it is after all this kind of hushed promise, you have one last whispered statement, was entstanden ist, das muss vergehen. What came into being must perish. But then, excitement, was vergangen, what has perished, auferstehen, will rise again. So suddenly this moment is, wow, this is what's going to happen. We kind of see the end of the symphony in a kind of a flash of kind of inspiration. So it says vorwärts, forwards, literally kind of move it on. So after this solemn in the men, it suddenly picks up. Was vergangen auferstehen. So be ready to kind of inject it with some energy. Let's try it once more. I'll do the little intro. So 6 bars before 42. There's your F, 1 and 2 and was entstanden ist. Das muss vergehen. was vergangen, sopranos auferstehen, off. Great. Good stuff. And we've got these little hats over the note, little accents. Was vergangen. So really just give it a bit of oomph on every single one. Auferstehen. Because you're with the brass here, who certainly will give it some oomph. So you can kind of join in the fun. And after all this soft singing, suddenly forte. And even at 42 in the tenors and basses, it's only pianissimo here. We're down to a mere 2 Ps. So it doesn't need to be the utter hush of the first section. It can be a bit more present. Because like I say, we kind of get closer and closer. Yeah, do you sing or speak was ent? The answer to that question is sing, but it just needs this kind of slightly whispered quality. When we get to was vergangen auferstehen, there's no whispering about that. But yeah, so not spoken, but sort of with a whispered quality. Let's try it once more, and then we'll have a look at the next bit. So this is 6 bars before 47. 1 and 2 and was entstanden ist, das muss vergehen. And was vergangen auferstehen. Great. Mighty this moment is. And then it comes to a glorious moment of repose. So, next bit. Hör auf zu beben. Listen up. Stop your trembling. So, because after that moment, it's enough to make you tremble. So you say, Hör auf zu beben. Cease your trembling. And then same again, the upper voices join in and sing the same thing. And then bereite dich, prepare yourself. Bereite dich zu leben, prepare yourself for life. So let's try 43. Hör, hör, hör. 4 and hör auf zu beben. Hör auf zu beben. Gorgeous. So, having notched up a little bit at 42 to 2 Ps, for one last time, we sing triple P. So here, find that same colour you found at the beginning. Because then the contrast with fortissimo, bereite dich, is really exciting. So, just one final moment of repose before the symphony really takes flight. So let's try that once more and we'll keep going. 43. Hör, hör, hör. 3 and 4 and hör auf zu beben. 3. Bereiter dich. 3. Dich zu leben. Oh, fantastic. Such a glorious moment, that. So the lower voice is Bereite dich. You're totally on your own here, no orchestral accompaniment. So there's this wonderful sense of kind of vulnerability, really. Also quite high in the tenor register. So really sing your heart out there, fortissimo. It's just the most wonderful moment. A really strong B, bear, and then a rolled R, reite dich, and H on the rest where I've written it. And we're in crotchets here. So having been in quavers for hör auf zu beben, I'll give you 2, 3, bereite dich. And then for the next entry with the sopranos and altos as well, similarly, we're in crotchets here. So I'll just give you 3, bereite dich zu leben. And we all breathe on that half beat of 3 after dich. Bereite dich zu leben. So let's try the second Bereite dich. End of bar 635. Start mezzo forte and just recede back into this triple P. 1, 2, 3. Bereite dich zu Great, yeah, and hum the N beautifully at the end. Great. Let's try the men then on the first Bereite dich. See if we can really find this kind of rock solid sound. So, ba, 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 ba. I'll give you 3 in your in. 1, 2, 3. Bereite dich. Glorious, yeah. Really enjoy singing that moment. Okay, so let's do from 43 once more, all the way up to 44. So triple P, fortissimo, and then mezzo forte, which just kind of languishes back into the triple P at the end on this glorious harmony. So 43. And lots of that lower C in the second basses. 3 and 4 and two, 3. Bereite dich. 3. Bereite dich zu takes flight like mit Aufschwung 44, literally with kind of upswing. Wonderful, well done. So that's your two middle sections, and they're really wonderful middle sections. Great. Okay, let's keep going then and tackle this last section. So you don't get such a big break this time. I'll play it for you just to give you an idea of the time you get at this moment, because this is where the master track starts. 44 with the soloists. Wonderful harmony. That's the bass entry at 46. So it really goes at quite a lick. It picks up tempo, and the minims by the end are fast. So just to get it in your ear, I'm going to play you 8 bars before 46, which goes like this. So minims are 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1 mit Flü. So you've really got to be ready for that moment. And on that bar line, minims turn into crotchets. So having been 1, 2, 1, 2, minim, minim, it goes into crotchet, 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 crotchet. 1, 2, 3, 4. A little bit tricky to get your head around that. Let me play it one more time, and then we'll try singing it. So this is 8 bars before 46. 1, 2. 1, 2, ich entschweben so Licht. 1, 2, mit Flüte Flügeln, die ich mir errungen. So I hope that makes sense. But you can sing it through as many times as you like, and in the master tracks you'll have Rory and Tom singing along with the basses there, just to make it absolutely clear what happens. Okay, let's give this a go. See how it goes. We'll just sing it through from that moment, from 46 up to 47, because it's the only bit where we're all singing at different times. Rest of the time we are a unit as a choir. So it's really the trickiest bit, so worth spending a little bit of time on. So get yourselves ready. I'll try and kind of give you a shout out just before your entries in each part, but obviously I can't sing all of them. So this is 8 bars before 46. Werd ich entschweben zum Liedem au mit Flügeln, die ich mir errungen werde. Altos mit Flügeln, die ich mir errungen. Tenors mit Flügeln, die ich mir. Altos Flügeln, die ich. Second tenors mit Flügeln, die ich mir mit Flügeln. That's the sopranos and D, and basses mit Flügeln, die. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, burn off. That's 47. Good job. It really is a bit of a whirlwind that moment. So don't worry if you didn't get half of it together, because it's tricky. Okay, let's try it a little bit under tempo. Obviously you'll need to breathe more, but it'll just help us orientate ourselves. Okay, 46. So I'll go a little bit slower. I'll give you those 8 bars before. We'll we'll just do it under tempo, so we've just got some brain space to figure out what the hell is going on. So this is 8 before 46. Werd ich entschweben. 1 mit Flü, 2, 3, Göln, die ich mir rungen. Altos 2, 3 mit Flügeln, die ich mir rungen werde. First tenors mit Flügeln, die ich altos mit Flügeln, die second tenors mit Flügeln, die and sopranos mit Flügeln, die ich basses mit Flügeln, die ich mir errungen entschweben. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, burn, and that's 47. Great. Okay, I hope that makes it a little bit easier. I think it would be handy to do that once more. Because, like I say, it's the hardest bit by a long way in terms of the sheer geography of the thing. So just get used to your entries. Have your notes, if you can, ready in your head. The great thing about recording this at home is that you can just check before you record this section, what's my notes? So the bass is mit Flug. That's your entry. Altos, mit Flug. First tenors, mit Flug. And then the second tenors, mit Flug. And then sopranos, mit Flug. So they're all slightly different. So before you record it, just check what your entry notes are and just have them sitting in the back of your brain so you have a little bit of a head start. One of the great bonuses, one of the many bonuses of this wonderful setup. So let's try it once more. This is 8 before 46. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and mit Flügeln, die ich mir errungen werde. Altos mit Flügeln, die ich mir errungen werde. First tenors mit Flügeln, die ich altos mit Flügeln, die ich second tenors mit Flügeln, die ich mir stops. Basses mit Flügeln, die ich mir errungen entschweben. Great. Well done. Okay, next bit. Difficult in another way. Just in terms of sheer stamina, but nothing like as kind of intricate as that last passage. So I think of all the passages to just make sure you're totally comfortable with, that's the one, because the words are so wonderful. With wings which I have won for myself, I shall soar up. So you want to be able to sing it with confidence. You don't want to kind of get to your entry and think, oh, what's my note? Is this the right place? So it's only short. So spend as much time as you need to really, really feel comfortable with how this bit goes, because it will go like a flash, and it's a flash that you want to enjoy. Okay, so 47. We're really in minims here. Sterben. But in the piano, I'll give you crotchets pulsing. Sterben wär ich Sole. So let's try this bit. We'll sing out to 48. Don't sing fortissimo. just sing mezzo forte or something, just so you know where the notes are, but you're not having to totally sing your hearts out, because that comes later. 47. 1 and 2 and sterben werde ich zu leben and sterben werde ich zu Great. Well done. Terrifically exciting moment, that. We all breathe together before the final zu leben, as though prepare yourself for life. So breathe at that moment and really enjoy it. Decrescendo down to almost as soft as you can go, given the register you're going to be in at that moment, and then crescendo for the last bar and a half, just before 48. Okay, I reckon we can do the next bit. So let's give it a go. Straight on 47, and let's just sing to the end. Keep it mezzo forte. Don't feel any need to really kind of tank it out this time round anyway. So that's your B flat at figure 47, and I'll sing along with you. 1 and 2 and sterben werde ich zu leben and sterben werde ich zu leben. Off and out, 2 and 3 and verstehen, 2 and off. Ja, verstehen, 2 and off. Wirst du mein Herz in einem nu, 2 and 3 and 4 off. Was du geschlagen, 2, 3 gone off. Breathe. Was du geschlagen zu Gott, zu Gott, zu Gott. Es dich for 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Great. Oh, what a moment. What a moment. Well done. Okay, well, catch your breath after that, because it's not the kind of thing you should sing too many times in a day. Fabulous. I hope it's starting to make sense, that last bit. There are kind of quite a few tempo changes, but like I say, if we can get the complexities in our bones, then you can really just sing it like you mean it and really enjoy singing it without having to worry about the kind of tricky corners. So at that very end, just to be super clear about where we're breathing and where we're putting the consonants, while you catch your breath, I'm just going to go over those last few bars. So 49, in 49, at figure 49, we all put the T of got on the half beat of 3. Got tsu. Remember, because it's tsu with a TS for the Z, you've kind of got a double T. Got tsu. Same thing again. Got tsu. And then on the big triplet bar, 7, 2, 8, we all breathe after the second triplet. So each triplet has 2 pulses on it. Got, ot, vered, s. So all breathe after that. Got. And then the last 4 bars are in quavers in the piano part. So es, dich, tra, and a ch on dich, and then a tr on tragen. And when you get to the gun of tragen, the job isn't quite over. Make sure you remember to count and come off on the half bar of that. It's quite easy in a moment like that just to think, oh, I've finished, I'll just sing the last syllable and do with it what I like. But it would be great if we're all together right until the last moment. Because it goes into 2 there for that very last bar. So the last 3 bars sound like this. 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, off. So it's a big beat. It's actually faster than the bar before. So yeah, make sure we're all together there. I will bring you off when I'm conducting, which we'll do in a minute, and in the master track, so they'll be totally clear, but just be ready for it. Okay, 4. Let's, just before we sing it through once more, from beginning to end, with the master track, I think let's do figure 46, just so we're totally secure with that moment. Because the ending, I think you've got the ending. You know, I'm sure some of the notes feel a bit of a stretch, but it's not about that. It's about singing your heart out. It's about really singing the words like you want someone to understand the words. Was du geschlagen. They're such wonderful words. So really work on the pronunciation. And, you know, if there's a note you need to falsetto or drop down to the alto part or whatever, just do that. It just doesn't matter. Just sing what you want to sing to make sure you enjoy yourself. Okay, so let's just do 46, just so we've really got that fresh in our minds, and then we'll take a quick breather and do a run through with the piano track. And then I might have a little treat for you at the end. Okay, so this is 8 bars before 46. I'll try and bring you in one by one. So... Flügeln, die ich mir errungen. Altos 2, 3. Mit Flügeln, die ich mir errungen war. First tenors mit Flügeln, die ich altos mit Flügeln. Second tenors mit Flügeln. Sopranos mit Flügeln, die ich Basses mit Flügeln, die ich mir errungen entschweb. Ich schweben off and stir. Okay, let's not go on that time. Well done. Yeah, that's the idea. It really does pick up in tempo as well. Every entry we get, it just needs to keep moving along, particularly really for those last few bars. So just hold on to your seat and be ready for a wild ride, because then when we get to 47, wham, we were in the final preparation for that big moment. Okay, so grab a glass of water, take a quick breath, and we'll work our way back through this from the beginning, section by section. And we're going to sing it with the master track with all of the singers in the background, so you really get an idea of what it's like to sing this with a whole choir, not just me kind of croning away into the microphone here. And I can conduct you as well. So you just got that little bit of extra security. So figure 31. Let's just check the sound is sounding good with these recordings. Just go up a maybe. Okay, that sounds good to me. So, in the master track, you'll hear I asked the singers who recorded this not to sing super, super, super soft, because I knew that if they were singing really super, super soft, as soon as you start trying to sing along, you wouldn't be able to hear them. So they never go below a certain dynamic, just so you can always hear them. But that doesn't mean you should sing at that dynamic. So have them in your ear. They'll be singing mezzo piano. You can sing triple P, quadruple P, and really find that sound. It's a bit like the soft pedal on a piano. I don't know how well it'll come across on the live stream, but if I play this chord and then I push the soft pedal down, it not only makes it softer, but it makes it softer in colour as well as dynamic. So find your soft pedal for your voice for this opening passage. Okay, well, I think we're ready as we'll ever be. Like I say, if you need a bit more of a break, just pause me and then join in when you want to. But let's sing this opening section. So you'll hear your notes in the master track, and then I will conduct along. Always good to just hum your note when you're given it, just so it's really fresh in your vocal cords. Okay, deep breaths. 3 and 4. Soft. So you can take a breather after that and just listen to this wonderful interlude. And when you record it, make sure you don't fast forward or pause or anything through this moment. Just sit and listen to it. It's important that your recording take is an unbroken take of the whole thing with your clap at the beginning. So, 3 bars to go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slower voices. 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Wonderful. So at this point in the recording, you can then stop recording. You've done your bit. You don't need to listen to right at the end of the track. But of course, if you want to listen, you're more than welcome to. Okay. Hard to stop that kind of music. Well done. That is a big old puff, that first bit. Let's keep going then. Part 2. So this takes us, starts at figure 39. In the recording, you'll do the clap and then the music will start at figure 39 and listen through it. For now, we don't need to listen through to the whole thing. So I'll jump ahead. But when you record it, do the clap at the beginning and then listen through to the whole introduction to the track. It's really important. Okay. So... Okay, this is just coming up to 6 bars before 42. So I'll bring you in tenors and basses. One, two. There's your F. 1 and 2 and 3. Really mighty moment there. So, just to recap, for this section, you'll hear a clap at the beginning. I'll play it to you. So, the beginning of this section, you'll hear 2, 3. That clap, and you'll see me clap. So, do that clap, and then I'll start the intro from 39, and you just sit there and listen to the whole thing. Don't fast forward, and then come in at your moment. Okay, so C3 is the next part, which starts straight after that. This is 43. So you'll hear another clap. Get your notes. 43. 3 and 4 and. Absolutely gorgeous. Well done. So those are our 2 middle sections, short and sweet. And now, the next master track starts at 44. So just like with the second one, you'll hear the clap, which you clap
1,
with.
2, 3.
And then let the tape keep running, keep recording, and listen to this opening. So we can do that now as well. And then I'll bring you in at 46.
1, 2.
We've got a wonderful alto, Mexican alto called Carla singing the alto part, and a wonderful Jordanian Palestinian soprano called Dima singing the soprano part. You're in for a real treat when you hear those two singing together. Okay, 4 bars. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 2, 1, 2. Altos and. Okay, first tenors. 1, 2. Altos. Second tenors. Sopranos. Basses. One, two. And and 4, off. Wow. Whew. Well, there you go. That's the whole thing that you've just sung. In fact, you've sung it more than once today. Bravo, bravo. That's absolutely fantastic job. That is really no mean feat to be able to sing this piece. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're finding it rewarding. Like I say, the more you sing it, I think the more comfortable you'll get with it, and the more you'll realise that it really is completely within your grasp. Mahler really believed that music was for everybody, and this piece, I think, really shows that. Really, anyone can master it, anyone can sing it, anyone can get what they want out of it. So spend as much time with it as you want. Watch the rehearsals back. You can watch this rehearsal back. You can sing along with the master tracks. I mean, sing along with your favourite recording. That's the great thing, is that now you can sing this piece. You have it within your grasp to really do it. Okay, as a little treat, I'm going to play you what I've been working on for the last few days, which is starting to mix together the orchestra recording. So this is just the very beginning bit. Well, that's just a little taster, because next time that will be completely finished, that orchestra recording, and for our dress rehearsal, we're going to sing it through with the orchestra backing track, so you really get to feel what it's like to sing it with the orchestra. What an amazing experience to sing Mahler 2 with an orchestra from your living room. I mean, I can't think of anything better than that, because the orchestra have all recorded it in the same way as you. It's the Orchestra for the Earth, my own orchestra, and they've recorded individually from their own homes every single part for the finale of Mahler's Second Symphony. So you guys are going to sing along with them, and then on the 14th of November we're going to have this fantastic live stream of the performance. So see you all soon. Thank you for a wonderful rehearsal. Enjoy